Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fireside Football Chat, episode 9, Jay.
Jesus, 9.
That's right.
Are
That's
you kidding
right.
me?
We're here, and loving every minute of it. I got to tell you one thing, Jay. Non-football related, kind of fire related, but we're late August here, and I can't figure out what I'm going to wear because I don't want to be too hot and too cool. And I knew you would show up still in a t-shirt
Are you
and
kidding
shorts.
me? I saw 68 degrees at 7 in the p.m. I'm like, oh, for
Guess
sure,
what?
shorts.
It's all right. So I have a little pullover in case we have to add that on
And good players
later on.
adjust.
That's right. But it's good. I like to sit out here like this. Except for the pro side, on the college side, Jay, not a lot of craziness. Some good football games. I mean, the thing that stood out for me. Aside from the Aggies coming through for me,
There
it is an easy one.
That's right. You got to ride that, man.
Exactly.
This happens sometimes in that there are years, and this has happened to me before, where the odds makers just never get the number right on some teams, whether
They
it's
can't
trust,
pay attention.
Whatever it is.
They can't
But it's
pay
interesting.
attention.
Sometimes you can get away with. I got away with that years ago with Ohio State and the Northwestern. I mean, it was.
You don't think I looked again?
It was a reverse and a tease every week in the same two teams, and it was only like 2 weeks that it didn't hit. It was crazy.
It's hard to pick up on them. It would happen to be the same. I would have picked the game the same way. It just happens to be the Aggies again. So hey,
Yeah.
I'm an Aggies fan. I was thinking about getting me a hoodie.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, they might send you up something.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly,
worry. I'm sure
exactly.
somebody's watching.
We keep picking them and
watching
rooting
from
them.
Aggie
Exactly. Anybody in Aggie land out there? So. The only thing I was going to say is Singleton's catch in the Penn State game, the over-the-shoulder, one-handed grab to start the scoring off that.
Yeah.
That's what really stood out for me, and it was good. It was good to see a solid W, too.
Yeah, it was nice. That was one of my – I mean, I was 2-2 last week, and the Penn State game, thankfully, was as far as college ranks go, is what saved me. But, man, the UCF -1.5 at home versus BYU – Chip, before I knew it, it was 17-0 BYU. They had gotten it back to 17-10, and at that point, I got to tell you, looking at UCF and just watching their undisciplined corners. I mean, they were so undisciplined at times. I thought, I may not have a shot.
First of all.
So it didn't work out in that case. It has worked out for us before.
I would have taken that game.
If you remember, it was, UCF giving points to BYU, 11th ranked at the time, at home. BYU. Oh, by the way, UCF was. I said I wasn't sure whether they were 3-4, 4-3. They were 3-4.
Exactly. I ended up looking that up
and I'm
too.
like, this is goofy. It has worked in our favor on multiple occasions. This time it didn't, guys. BYU was the better team and absolutely took care of business. The other one, Ole Miss, -20.5 at home against Oklahoma. That was another loss on my end. Quite honestly, I don't know what Ole Miss was doing in the first half. I don't know what they were doing. It was almost like they were toying with, we're going to let them think that they can hang around. And then they stepped in the gas in the second half. Not hard enough because they didn't cover. But it was kind of like, everything came to fruition is what I was saying, but you can't do it for a half of football. So I pay the price. And thankfully the Falcons held on, to cover the 2.5 against Tampa Bay. So just, one of those weeks. And certainly I'd like to be better than 500, but you know what? It's
First
better
time I cracked it.
Yeah, nice work, brother.
But still.
Better than the alternative of a 1-3 or an 0-4.
Exactly.
So.
But the thing is, too, Jay, going back to your UCF, if I saw that line this week, I'd take that again. I liked it last week. You jumped on it too.
Yep.
I liked it. I would do it all over again because guess what? There is no way. Why would the odds makers do that then? Because you know where they want to be. They want to do the equal on each side. And I know it's impossible, but I would jump all over that again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, hindsight, I would have changed it, but you don't get to do it that way. As far as those approaches go, I'm going to have to get burnt by that a few more times before I wouldn't, because it's worked in our favor multiple times.
Absolutely. Over the years it has. So.
What do you got, brother?
I guess it's before I pick, I give my little fun fact.
Oh, here we
right?
go. Here we go.
It's a little fun fact. And the reason I bring this up because it happened in 1916, Jay.
Oh, jeez.
Ironically, in October. Well, if they're good. And the reason I picked this one because it happened in 1916. Who cares, right? They didn't have helmets. The whole different ball game. It's over 100 years ago. However, Jay, one of those teams is in existence today, and actually was pretty relevant in the beginning part of the season, obviously before the schedule, I think. But Georgia Tech was involved in this game.
Ramblin' Wreck.
The most points ever scored by a single team in a game. Any idea, Jay?
Single team in a game. So most points I'm going to make, I mean, my God, most points.
You're not going to be even close, I can tell you right now.
107?
Okay, you're not even close. Georgia Tech beat Cumberland. Sounds like Cumberland Farms to me,
Yeah, right.
who I've never even heard of them and still haven't.
Yeah, right.
Georgia Tech beat them on October 7th, 1916. 222-0.
Jesus! What did they bring the weight ball squad in? The 120s and under from Cumberland?
I don't know. It looked like a lot of Olay going on there.
Oh, my goodness.
222. Yeah. So the reason I bring it up is, and I'm not going to dwell on it and keep talking about it, but how would that look?
Perception would be a bad look.
Really?
How about you read that in the paper? Even?
How long were the quarters?
No idea. Seems impossible, Chip.
Hey,
it happened.
But there's your fun fact for the week.
Like the fact.
All right, let's go for my pick.
Yep. What do you
Similar to that Aggies kind of mindset.
Okay.
Illinois, who you've been on there a few times this year. Solid team.
I have.
Solid team. I kind of paid attention to them a little bit more with your insight just to see. I like to see where we're at.
Yeah.
They're ranked 24th. Now, I know it's top 25. It's one from the end, but so Minnesota is at Illinois.
Yeah, I saw that one.
So explain to me, Jay, then. If Illinois looks solid, they're number 24, then why is Minnesota giving them a field goal at home?
I can only think it would be because Minnesota, who did they slaughter? Maryland last week?
Yes, they did.
And Illinois got their teeth kicked in by Oregon.
Okay. Does it deserve reality? Is it one game? Because we're going to address that in my pros. Does one game make the difference? So guess what? We're going with the Gophers.
Going with the Gophers.
-3 at Illinois. So there you go.
All right, fun fact
So
there. There's a fun fact.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Hey, I like it. That Minnesota, again, they clobbered whoever they played.
Maryland.
It was Maryland last week.
It was exactly.
Illinois really had it handed to them. They're try to get back on the train. They're at home, but could be potentially real, and that could have been enough to where Minnesota's on the uptick. We're going to find out is right.
And this is that time of the season, Jay.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Who do you have?
It's the witching hour.
Hey, yes it is. No pun intended for Halloween to be in tomorrow.
Negative. So I got Michigan State, believe it or not, +7.5 at home against Indiana. And I know everybody's in love with Indiana. And I get it. Listen, I like Indiana. I like their coach. I like what they're doing. Now, as a Penn State fan, I've got to start rooting on the other side. But you know as well as I do, that's not why I pick a side.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? But this week, I'm picking Michigan State, getting 7.5 at home against Indiana for these reasons. Okay, first of all, last week, and Indiana did win that football game. I think they may have won by 14 points or so. But a lot of times, Chip, when you're coming off of a high like that, game day. When was game day ever at Indiana? I don't know.
And I'm sure where Indiana is.
Right. Bloomington. So game day's there, right? Everybody's going. And they had a tremendous turnout for game day. Tremendous excitement. The team's getting bumped up. They get the win. They're fired up. Michigan State played Michigan last week. and it was a tight one.
Yes, it was.
It was a tight one. And you could make the argument that they could have and should have won that football game. So you've got this team in Indiana coming into Michigan State, riding this high, and they are really starting to smell themselves now, and for good reason, right? They play good football. Michigan State's angry. They have got the anger factor going on. Okay?
They are Spartans, Jay.
They're Spartans. They get called little brother. There's a mess at the end of the game. I think Michigan State is not only going to cover.
Uh-oh. No, he's not.
Yeah. Believe it or not, folks, I actually think that they're going to win this football game. I really do.
Outright?
Outright. They ran the ball well against Michigan, who, by the way, has 2 potential first-round NFLers on that defensive line, and they ran the ball well against them. I see that potentially happening against Indiana. It's concerning to me, and yes, the quarterback got the win last week, the new quarterback that they brought in for Indiana. He got the win. I think he had 1 touchdown pass, he had 1 interception, and he might have thrown for, I don't know, 150, 170 yards, maybe somewhere around there. Point was, he didn't go off. He didn't have a great game, but they did run the football well. I'm just concerned if he does have to throw that football, if he's forced to throw that football, because he is not, I think the guy's name is like Curtis Rourke, who is the guy that's currently injured right now. He's not that quarterback. And I think that if he's forced to throw this football, it could be trouble for Indiana. So anyhow, folks, lay the lumber. As I said, not only am I picking Michigan State plus 7.5, and that is the wager. Okay, let's get that clear.
Absolutely.
The wager is not, you picked them to win outright. But
However,
I'm saying, I think they can win this game outright. Next up, Duke plus 21.5 at Miami. I know what you're thinking. Risky, risky, risky. Nope. No, it's not.
Nope. You're right.
Here's the way I feel about this, folks. First of all, Miami's played some close games. I know last week they handled Florida State, but we're finding Florida State's just not.
They're a fraud.
Yeah, they're just not.
They just don't have enough weapons.
Not good this year. But prior to that, I think three of their previous 4 contests were games that were all under 7 points, and against teams that believe they were favored to win big against. As a matter of fact, I think you have a statistic about, was it 4?
Duke is 4-0-1 against the spread the last 5, and then Miami has failed to cover 3 out of the last 4.
There you go. Okay, so to kind of, let's just say, to pad on to that, or those statistics, you've got Duke, who just played SMU. SMU might be ranked 20th. They played them overtime. 1-point game. Great game, 1-point game. And Manny Diaz, this is a defensive-minded football team. They might be top 20. They might be 20th ranked defense in the nation. Excellent defensive coach. I think that his defensive prowess is going to be enough to slow down Miami. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not going like my previous pick.
They don't have to.
They don't have to win. They just have to
cover.
They just got to cover.
That's all they have to do.
And I do believe that they're going to cover plus 21.5 at Miami. I'm not scared of it being at Miami. Folks,
No.
You should not either. Enjoy the fruits of your wagers. Last college game.
Uh-oh.
We've got Iowa minus 3.5 at home against Wisconsin. Listen, I just watched the Badgers the entire game last week against the Nittany Lions, and that line was 6.5, right? And Penn State ended up winning by 15 or something like that. I will tell you this: even though Penn State was down at the half, I never felt threatened by that Wisconsin offense. I never felt threatened by the Wisconsin offense. And I think that with Iowa, believe it or not, they've got 4 games this year in which they've scored 31 points or more. They went and got a new OC this year. 2 of those games, by the way, they scored 40 points.
Uh-oh.
Chip, I'm telling you, Iowa, believe it or not, can score. We know they're going to have a stingy defense. That every year after year after year, Iowa has solid defenses.
Yes, they do.
No doubt, no denying that. Kurt Ferentz always has that defense playing well. It's the offense that's been such a I mean, anemic. If there's a word that's below anemic, that's what that offense has been the last couple years. They've turned it around. And I wouldn't go there, Chip, if it was just one game, maybe even 2. But the fact that they've scored, and even against Big Ten opponents.
You have receipts, Jay. 4 of them.
I got the receipts, folks. So I think that in this case with Wisconsin, the quarterback, again, I go back to the quarterback I just don't think they can do it. And I understand what Wisconsin wants to do. It's similar to what Iowa wants to do, right? They want to come out, they want to run the football, they want to dominate the time of possession. The difference, Iowa's scoring. Wisconsin is not. And I know they faced an excellent defense last week in Penn State, but I just didn't see any type of threats. And the throws that the guy was making, there were times where guys were open. Couldn't hit them. And then a couple times where the guys dropped the football. I think that their passing offense is in shambles, and it's just not going to be enough. That crowd at Kinnick Stadium is going to be going haywire.
Too much cheese, Jay.
Too much cheese. And for that reason, my friends, take Iowa minus the 3.5 at home against the Wisconsin Badgers.
Sweet.
And that's it for the college.
Uh-oh.
Now on to the pros.
Have you lost a pro game this year yet? Or maybe one, if that? You're pretty good with the picking a 1.
Yeah, I'm sure I've lost a few. But yeah, no, I don't know
like
what
you
my
have that one that has my antennas up. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, for the pros, folks, yeah, sometimes you get them, sometimes they get you. I've been a little bit more fortunate, yes, with the pros. Funny enough, is that's not what I feel is my area of expert. But what the heck is
the beauty of this, right?
Expertise? Come on,
exactly.
This is hard to do. We've acknowledged it multiple times. So on to the pro pick, the old pigskin, pro pigskin pick. I got the Falcons this week, minus 2.5 against the Cowboys.
Okay.
It's
funny you say that.
I still just don't see it with the Cowboys. I know that, it was a closer game, right, with San Fran, but Chip, I just don't see it. They look like they're in shambles. I think I had read that Parsons isn't going to play again this week. I could be wrong, but I think I read that.
I mean, they're bad. I'm not making it. I don't think if they were full throttle, they'd be formidable. However, it's funny you say that because I was going to say, Jay, we should put the Cowboys into the same, not the stink pot, but call it the stink pot with Carolina betting the other side every week until they prove it not so.
And this is kind of what had I look back at a few of them and I had the antennas up and I'm like, no, Jay,
I would
do it.
I just can't do it every week.
And no, I understand that.
But it's not because I'm a homer, but because at the end of the day, you're rooting to win.
Sure.
But I would jump against that all the time.
I just feel like the Falcons, honestly, I had never thought I'd say this, but Curtis Cousins back there, I mean, what do you have, 4 touchdown passes last week? He's making a difference. And Bijan Robinson can run the football. He can catch the football. They got talent. Drake London can catch the football. Who's the other guy that I'm missing? Is Darnell Mooney a receiver for them or is he for the Bears? Anyhow, they've got one other guy that's also a pretty good receiver.
It ain't Calvin Ridley because he lit it up.
He did. Yeah. So anyhow, I just think that I've watched a few of the Falcons games, and I've come away pretty impressed.
They're steady
by their offense. I know their defense, ups and downs. I just think the minus 2.5, they easily win. My opinion, they easily win by a field goal or more against the Cowboys until the Cowboys prove it. And you know what, folks? This is the beauty of live football. Maybe it's this week that they do, But
I'm not seeing it.
I don't see many trends based off of what I've watched with Dallas to go, yeah, you know what? This is the week that they're going to turn it around.
Listen, I could sit there and do a whole show on the Cowboys.
And I know that you know them in depth.
Not being bitter, just like, really, this is what we're rolling out here?
Surprised.
Yeah,
Surprised.
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
But I see where you can say that. But yeah, listen, it is what it is. It was funny. I was going to bring that up about taking the other side until they prove us wrong. Really. But I just can't do it. But
okay, like the tight end, Ferguson, right? Mm-hmm. He's a good football player.
Great football player.
He's playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. CeeDee Lamb, good football player.
Great football player.
He's playing, right?
Yeah. The offensive line stinks.
And we all know that in the trenches is where it makes a difference. I'm a little confused because I don't watch them as much as you. I've actually watched more Atlanta than I have Dallas, and I saw that -2.5 chip, and
I
I'm
would have
going.
jumped on it. I looked at it too.
I can't go the other way, and I know sometimes we look at these like we talked about earlier and go, when it looks too good. I just can't go there. I can't get myself to go.
I don't blame
with
you.
The Cowboys. So
I mean, for instance, their left tackle was a stud right tackle in college. He's a rookie, and you're asking him to flip sides. So, and not making excuses. They have 2 or 3 new offensive. I'm not making excuses, but that's a great pick, and he's probably cashing in once again.
So, Atlanta -2.5. versus the Cowboys, and the Atlanta is at home. Jump on it, folks. Hopefully you get yourself a victory.
As always, Jay, very compelling.
Here we go.
Okay, Jay, it's time for some NFL picks.
Lay it on us, brother.
What's funny, I said there wasn't too much craziness going on in the college games on Saturday, but guess what? Sunday, well, I don't want to say Sunday, but the weekend, which is Sunday morning, because I don't know what was in here. 5 game-winning scores in the final minute since 2000. Think about that.
Game-winning scores
in the final minute. 5 of them. First time since 2000.
Jesus. Some of them
Listen,
were, what the heck was going on type of a deal.
I refer to my pool that I'm in, which makes this a little bit easier for me to do because I'm already paying attention to it. But
Grain in the old noggin.
Exactly. But that I thought I was going to sneak Chicago out against Washington.
No.
And I don't even want to talk about it because as much as exciting was, it just goes to show you, I don't want to say the NFL blows, but it's come on, do your job. All you have to do is knock it. I mean, there's no, and then if you heard Tony Romo say, because they were saying nobody covered the guy behind you. Well, what happens is you put a guy in the front, guy in the back, everybody's in the middle, and you tap it back. So anyway, I mean, that happened, and I almost jumped on a game just because I've seen this happen before. Just when you think Jameis Winston is buried.
Famous Jameis.
They go, here you go.
Buried his crab legs?
Exactly. He shows up with the bags of crab legs, and guess what? He lights it up.
I know.
He lights it up.
I know.
He lights it up.
Unbelievable.
He lights it up. So with that being said, Jay, I don't think he's going to do it this week, can he?
He ain't got back-to-back, does he?
He's getting a little long in the tooth, Jay. He's getting a little long in the tooth. So I'm not saying he can't, but I'm not going to put my money on it. So with that being said, Chargers going into the Browns, giving 2.
I saw that.
Chargers have a nice little defense. Justin Herbert's playing better. I just think, maybe the team got a little inspired with Jameis in there, but they're still the Browns.
They're still the Browns.
They're still the Browns.
All right.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see what
bad helmet.
Exactly. Put a number or something on there. All right, but I'm going to mix the Magic 8 Ball in with the as I go along. I got too much stuff here. I need one of them European carry-alls. That's right. Never. I'll get a man bun too. Get a man bun too.
I'll get you one. Maybe one of our subscribers can send you one.
Nah, that never happened. Okay, here we go. Chargers -2 at the Browns, Jay. The 8 Ball says You may rely on it.
Okay. Because we did see last week.
Yeah, it went against. It went
against. There were a couple negatores going the other direction.
I forget what
So we
game.
know it's capable.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, too, is...
We're going to have to go back and look. See what games that
exactly.
was.
Because since I was 3-1 overall, one in college, so I was 2-1 in an NFL. I don't know which one it went against. But I think...
We'll track it.
I think the Green Bay said try again. Remember? That's the one who said come back to me. I think that was the one. But I don't know. I forget what it was.
Yeah, well, we got the receipts. We'll check it out.
So it's not in really any particular order and saving the best for last. But Tua's back. They won last week. Didn't light it up. But he threw a lot of passes. Didn't gain a lot of yardage, though.
Man, he did throw a lot.
I just don't think that they're going to be ready in sync, and I think the Bills are rolling.
No, I didn't think they were in sync last week.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
it never came out of the gate. I jumped on Miami early, so
even with Tua.
Yeah, and I don't expect the switch to go on. Tua's back. Here we go. But I still can't think that he's going to not have something in the back of his mind.
Yeah.
And
a
tentatively,
stiff wind comes by and he gets concussed.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not making light of it. You know that.
No.
This CT, is it
CTE, yeah.
Real. It's real.
Yeah, but
and you hate to see it, but my goodness, the amount of concussion. Brave as hell to be coming back and playing. They
weren't just the little knocks.
No.
I've had.
No.
I counted.
No,
I think I've had
not.
5 myself.
Okay.
And they weren't football. One was the first one was football related, but his brain's rattling around. I mean, he's getting hammered, going head for. That's a whole different concussion. Not to make light of mine, because it still bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, it only takes one sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, with that being said, I think the Bills, Josh Allen, are rolling. They got Amari in. Right?
Oh, man.
And I just think that he's going to click. Last week he didn't really, whatever. I think he's going to. I think they are. I think they're starting to get a little bit of stride. Don't know if they can sustain it to the end, but I'm going to take Buffalo -6 against Miami.
-6 at home?
Yes.
Nice.
And I think that they kind of, I don't want to say they have Miami's number, but they know how to keep them in check, including Tua. So, and I just think that, always go back to who's playing well, who's not. Josh Allen, I still think he hasn't peaked yet, but they're playing well.
Yeah,
so,
they are on the uptick. A good trend, and unfortunately Miami just can't get out of the driveway.
That's right. So we're going with Bills -6. What do you think the 8-ball says, Jay?
Mr. 8-ball or
the
Miss
8-ball.
The 8-ball.
You know what's funny? I'm starting to see, I forget where, like promos and stuff, all of a sudden the 8-ball's showing up. I'm like, okay, jump on my bandwagon.
Come back. Bringing the 8-ball back. What's it say?
Outlook, not so good.
Okay, well, we saw that last week.
That's okay.
Doesn't mean we're going to switch our pick.
No way.
Just, Mr. or Mrs. 8-ball gave that prediction.
Took me 8 weeks to go 3-1, Jack. No,
right.
I'm just kidding. It's really, it just makes me feel better. So,
as it should.
Okay, Jay. I'm going to stay with the theme of a good, solid team. Solid quarterback. You think they're going to be in it at the end? I know it wasn't an easy game with Cleveland last week, but Jameis Winston, like we said, showed up with the crab legs.
Yeah, famous Jameis.
But Baltimore, as much as I bet against him, Bo Nix, in the beginning of the season, I rode him for a little bit the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
But welcome to Baltimore. I don't think it's going to be too kind. Yeah, they might bottle up a little bit things with their good defense, but I just don't. I just can't see them coming across in that environment. And
the environment might be overwhelming for him. Listen, let's not put him in the great or maybe not even good category, but definitely not great category yet. You've got to prove yourself on the road in the NFL against some of the tougher
his defense,
teams.
like we've talked about, has kept him in the games.
Defense travels.
Yeah.
He had a great game last week, but
yeah,
who did play?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And that's why I had him last week. So, Bo, I was with you last week. I don't think so this week.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go with
that by your tone.
Baltimore -9.5.
I saw that 9 and a hook. Big number.
It's
under the double.
Yeah, exactly. It's under the double. And the funny thing is, before we go to Mr. 8-ball for this last pick, a lot of games I was looking at this week, they're either falling on 7, add the hook in there. I don't like the hook all the time unless I'm convinced.
Right.
Like the Eagles. I kind of like the Eagles, but it's right on 7 is what I saw. 7.5. Dougie's coming back to prove a point, so I'm going to go with Baltimore. Like I said, minus 9.5 against the visiting Broncos. Sorry, Bo. Let's see what my friend, the 8-ball, has to say, Jay.
Massage that 8-ball.
Flip it up, smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh, no!
Oh, no.
Baltimore minus 9.5. Man, that light. Outlook, good. So, there we have it. And just so you know, I wrote this name down, Jay. I talked to you about it, but just so you know, and we say this, we're not experts. We just pick games, have fun and everything. But I stumbled on a guy I never heard of and not looking for it, like searching for it, but I think his name was Billy Walters. He's arguably the best gambler of all time.
Huh?
Yeah, 77 years old,
Billy
decides
Walters.
to write a book.
How old?
77. But he seemed a little with it, right? Maybe the numbers kept him in it. But
Seasoned lad.
Yeah,
Seasoned lad. He's done it for a while.
But what jumped out at me as a fun fact, Jay, was the fact that his percentage over all these years, and he's made a lot of money. They show, overall what he did. He did some casino things too, blah, 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 but 57%.
Doesn't even start with a 6.
No. But see what happens, though?
Let that sink in, folks. 57%. Go ahead, Chip.
What happens, though, with that, it's because they don't bet, just say somebody says $50 a game or $100. They're not betting $100 on every game. If they see one that they want to jump on, that's where they make more money. Yeah. So they know it's a stone cold lock.
Yep.
And because of that, their winnings are going to be high. So with the ones they lose, they might lose on a lower juice. So that's where that comes.
Yeah,
so.
I liken that to blackjack. Where some people have that theory of, okay, they win 1, they wait. They win 2, they double. They win 3, then they end up going in larger increments, right? So it's not just always double.
Exactly.
Once they start winning a little, then they really start to stack. Similar to what you're saying with when they feel good about it, they might be going hundo on this, but then they go dimer or more on this because they feel good about it.
And if you catch it, you catch it.
That's right.
So, Jay, with that being said, our segment comes up for Mr. Monday Night. Now, we have a little curveball. Not really a curveball. We have a little shift.
Not for us.
No.
Not curveball for us. A shift is a good way to put it.
Exactly. We're shifting. We decided you might hear a new voice. A new voice this week.
Well, I'm interested.
And after the interview process was over, when we decided to bring him on board, we're trying a new Mr. Monday Night. And we're going to see how he does. So you better be good. I hope you come off 1-0. What do you think, Jay?
And a congratulations to this young man.
That's right. He's not that young, but he's younger than us.
He's congratulations.
Actually, me. I don't know about you.
Congratulations, my friend.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. We look forward to hearing your picks. Of course, our audience does as well. And our last lad?
Well, I don't like to sit there and kick a man when he's down. I mean, he was, 1-5. But for a guy that said if he were laid out of the gate, they'd make it up in the air, he's still on the tarmac. So guess what? What are you going to do? We're shifting, trying something different.
That's all.
We can do that, Jay.
Oh, yeah, no, that's all. No big deal.
That's right.
Good players adjust, as we like to say.
That's right. We've been adjusting since day one.
That's right.
So.
Greetings, sports fans. This is the new and possibly improved Mr. Monday Night. This Monday, our matchup is the Kansas City Chiefs at home, laying 8.5 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mr. Monday Night likes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus the 8.5 points in this one. Yes, Kansas City, 7-0, undefeated, last undefeated team in the league this year. Hats off to Andy Reid. He's doing another incredible job out there in Kansas City. But let's take a look at Tampa Bay. They come into the game 4-4, battling through a lot of injuries. The back's up against the wall. I like him in this spot with those points. Baker Mayfield's been outstanding this year. He's throwing the ball all over the place. Lots of touchdown passes. In fact, Tampa Bay averages about 29 points a game. In a shootout like that, I'll take the team with 8.5 points. Also, as a bonus bet, I like over 45.5 a lot. Again, Tampa Bay averaging 29 points a game and Kansas City averaging 25 points a game. So I like Tampa Bay and I like the over. See you at the window.
Okay, Jay. Another finished episode. Number 9 in the books.
9.
9.
Unbelievable.
And remember, it always started with day one. Day one, you got to get there. Not to be motivational here, but you got to start because you don't know where you're going to get. And we've had curveballs every week. As you can see, we've adjusted. You don't know about them, but here we are. So, once again, a little bit of fun. Here we go. And let's bet them up and root them in.
Always fun.
You got
Always
it.
a good time. We're enjoying a fine evening here by the fire.
Exactly.
And doing what we love. And this is what I know it sounds like a broken record week after week, but I enjoy this.
It breaks my week up and I feel good.
A lot.
Exactly.
I really do. And we're having fun. Let's just keep rolling with it, brother.
That's right. Thanks for coming. See you next week.